You like this frame that they put up? I'm so naughty.
Naughty girl.
Well, welcome. Hello, we've begun recording. So, first let me ask you, are there areas of discussion and stuff you'd like to get to beyond just typing you? Or are you actually uncertain about your type? How confident do you feel about your type currently?
I think I just want to see pressure points, I guess.
Okay.
You know, like I want to.
You want to put it to the test?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
An
sure.
ultimate trial, you know.
Okay. When's the last time you had a yard sale?
Never.
Never. If you were to have a yard sale right now, would you have stuff that you would like to get rid of and sell, or do you think you've already thrown away everything that's unnecessary?
I don't know how much of it's sellable. I mean, most of it's like, you know, like movie tickets and stuff like that would be things I would potentially get rid of, but I'd want to keep them for sentimental value.
Movie tickets?
Yeah.
Like old movie tickets you might be willing to part with, but no, because I need those.
Yeah, I mean, if I was to declutter things, that would be what I would go for. I mean, I feel like I've had that token for long enough, I guess.
How cluttered are you?
I mean, I don't know if I'm crazy cluttered, but like that would be the first unnecessary thing, I guess.
Okay. Susie or Spacey, you want to ask some questions? I'd like to get this one more equally mixed up here if possible.
Mix it up.
Yeah, just get everybody in the mix.
Yeah, I've already talked to her quite a bit,
Yeah.
so
Well, ask me questions you think will be revelatory for my understanding.
Yeah.
for your understanding. Why do you need questions, Eric? I can leave if I'm in the way.
Because I'm trying to. Okay, fine. I'll just. Fine. I will drive the
okay, here's
goddamn
the
bus.
thing. I really.
I will bring my lead foot. I will push the gas pedal. I will push the brake pedal. I will drive the goddamn bus, Susie. Fine.
Yeah, I don't want to influence. Here's the
Fine.
thing. I don't want to influence this one.
Right.
Okay.
Would either of the Polar SE people like to do? Shockingly, no. Okay.
You gotta give me more to go on, Eric.
All right. Let me ask you some more questions. So, if you were going to go to a carnival, would you be, and you'll only do one of the following activities, which activity would you choose? You can either play the win the stuffed animal games, you can go on rides, you can eat foods, or you can visit the animals and the petting zoo area. Which of the four things do you want to do?
Eat. 100%.
Now, what if eating was not one of the options? Which of the remaining three things do you want to do?
You said visit the foods.
I know.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
saying, and
Okay.
now, what if
If not,
your first choice weren't available?
Oh, she didn't use the word foods.
I'd probably play games.
Play the games? Okay.
Mhm.
Have you ever played the coin toss win a dish game?
Coin toss.
Win a dish. They have dishes piled up, and you like toss a quarter, and if it lands in the dish, you get to keep the dish.
Oh, I've never played that.
You never played that. Okay. What about? It's the same idea basically as Pong Goldfish Get. Have you ever played Pong Goldfish Get? Where you throw a ping pong ball and it lands in one of the little goldfish things, you get to keep that goldfish.
I'm assuming it's like beer pong.
You
so-
must not go to good carnivals. Okay. How important is it to you that your food be fresh and locally sourced, or does that not matter at all?
I think it should matter, but it doesn't.
Did you enjoy high school?
I liked the structure. I liked knowing where I was going to be and when and for how long, but I didn't like the people interaction.
What was your favorite subject?
Usually it depended on the teacher, but English generally just because of reading. Yeah.
Okay. So you felt more comfortable with language than with numbers?
Yes. Kind of hesitant just because I typically think I'm better at language than numbers, but heard differently.
Okay. Do you have a job or go to school right now or anything like that? Or your mom or anything like that?
I have my master's in history,
Uh-huh.
and I'm currently working at a gym because that's all I can get.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, is there any subcategory of history that you specialize in?
Chinese history, most specifically like human rights.
I see.
Mm.
So, are you able to incorporate both Chinese words into your own expressions? Are you able to use both Ching and Chong?
I can cope with a little.
Okay. 你好，对不对？上上周，上上周。I spent some time in Shanghai, so I picked up just like 5 words or whatever.
I mean,
Yeah,
Chinese
that's
speak
some
great,
nice
but
mediocre
it's
anything.
okay.
Have you ever been to China?
Yes.
Which part of China did you go to?
I went to Shanghai, Xi'an, Chengdu, Tibet, and just kind of some rural areas.
How was Tibet?
How was Tibet?
Yeah, did you like it?
Very cool.
Yeah.
It was kind of creepy at times, though, because we had a lot of women in our group, and there were a lot of men trying to buy the women.
Trying to buy them?
Yeah, as brides.
Who were they buying them from?
Actually, our tour guide. They were trying.
Well, he was the only male, right?
Yeah.
So naturally, he possessed the chattel.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know who else
Yeah,
is gonna.
fair assumption to
You
make.
can't let them wander around unsupervised, obviously. Okay, so did you see any particularly good deals on Enlightenment when you were in Tibet? Like maybe $6. I don't want to spend too much for it.
I think it was mostly you can put in money for things as you want. But no, I would assume Enlightenment takes much more than just
But in
monetary.
Tibet, you can purchase metaphysical outcomes with physical money.
No, I wouldn't
You
think
can't?
so.
Well, what do you mean by they say they have things you can put money into?
Just like donations.
What are you supposed to get for your donation? Karma?
Good question. I mean, I don't remember if in the Tibet temples, I think they did though, some of them, some of the Buddhist temples, they had like before the gods, they would have altars where you could donate like money or put like cookies or whatever you wanted to give.
I see.
Mhm.
If you were like, let's say you were walking down the street and you were walking by a school, and much to your shock, I'd pop out of the door in the school and I'd say, "Chill, ISFJ, come over here. I need your help. Here, teach this class. It's an English class. I gotta run and quickly. I'm having my appendix out this morning. I gotta quickly go get it removed. Can you cover this class for me? I don't have any lesson plans, but you'll figure it out. How do you feel?"
I'd be very anxious, but at the same time be like, yeah, go. Because that's serious, one. And then I'd just figure it out. I'd wing it.
Okay, well, I do want to let you know, I don't actually have any reason to get my appendix out. I'm just sick of it. And I thought today would be a good day to go. So it's not really urgent, but it's urgent to me, metaphysically.
It's still something you wanted to do, so I would want to help you out.
Thanks, Chill ISFJ. It's very
Nice
helpful.
of you, yeah.
Yeah, very nice of you.
I don't know.
Have you ever taught a class before, like in graduate school maybe?
Yes.
Did you find it, was it something comfortable for you? Did it make you nervous? Do you feel like, I gotta go do that today and stress out about it all day until it happened, or what?
I would stress out about it. I gave a couple different lectures for a Chinese history class and then for a Islam in the West class. And I'd be very anxious leading up to it for like weeks because it was kind of sporadic when I would go. But when I was doing it, I'd be very nervous, but at the same time, it'd be very powerful feeling at the same time. I don't know. So it'd be like this double-edged sword.
Did you get any pedantic TI users try to prove you wrong in class?
I don't think, because the subject matter was so specific, I didn't have a lot of that. I had people like bring up philosophy that I hadn't learned in order to apply it to context, and I was like, well, I can't speak to that, because I don't know. But I think your idea is interesting.
Now, you taught a class on Islam as well?
Well, my portion within that class was to help students with their writing. So when I went up there to teach, it was like, here's how you write a history paper. So I was a part of that. But one of my advisors, she was a historian of the Middle East.
Now, in those classes, do things get political? In an Islamic class?
Somewhat. I mean, I think a lot of things are underlyingly political, but the focus wasn't just that. I think it was more like social movements.
Now, how about you? Are you a political person? Do you have clear political positions? Are you apolitical? Or do what? And if you do have clear positions, how do you reach those positions?
I think I stay out of politics. I'm usually just like, what's going to help the most people? How do we generally, I want the globe to be happy and like satisfied. So how do we get that? That's kind of what I want.
Okay. Kim Jong-un has a law that when he shows up somewhere, everybody has to act super delighted to see him. And if they don't, they can get a year in jail. What do you think about that law?
I mean, it's wrong because you're asking each individual to put aside everything for you, and that's not fair to them. If I wouldn't do that to someone else, why would they force that on me, I guess? So I wouldn't want anyone else to have to deal with that.
Well, I mean, because Kim Jong-un is that delightful. If you're not responding with delight, obviously there's something wrong with you. What do you think about that argument?
It, like, negates the idea of, like, personality types. Like, someone would conflict with him.
I see. That's true. He probably shoots missiles at those people.
I would.
Yeah, he had like a relative when he took over for his dad when his dad died. He had this relative who was sort of like the other power center and who maybe had a possible chance of like taking over instead of Kim Jong Un. And he had him put up there and he shot like a, I guess, like 70 millimeter cannon or something at him. It just means it just disintegrated basically. That's how they do things in North Korea. Regardless, it's neither here nor there. Let's see. If you had the opportunity to take a trip to North Korea, would you like to do it because, wow, how interesting? Not want to do it because it might be dangerous, or not want to do it because I don't like North Korea and don't want to support them?
I would go. I had, when I was in China, I was studying abroad, and I had a professor who said that North Korea is a lot like traditional China, and when you go there, it's like you go back several decades in one time and stuff. And so I'd want to experience that to see what that was like.
Okay. Would you consider yourself broadly more liberal or conservative?
More liberal, I think.
Okay. Are you in a relationship currently?
I'm married.
Oh, you're married. Okay. What? Can you tell me about something you and your husband sometimes fight about? More than once? Like not a one-off, but a regular thing that you periodically go, this is that sticky point that we argue about.
All the time. He thinks that I'm inefficient.
You inefficient?
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as like I'm thinking loading the dishwasher, like he doesn't like the way I do that, the way I stack things, like my bookshelf. He had to go and redo it all because he didn't like how it was done.
Did he ask you, or did he just say, this is all wrong, and just redo it?
He pretty much just was like, Jamie, and then did it. And I just let him because it's like, if it makes you happy, like, do it. It's okay.
So when something breaks, so for example, let's say the refrigerator is not cold enough, do you go, Barry? Or do you try to fix it yourself?
I mean, if it was something simple, I might be able to do something about it. I'd probably YouTube it if my husband wasn't here, but he's so, like, hands-on. I would be like, babe, this is broken. Help me.
What type do you think he is?
I think he's an ISTP. Or an ESTP. But somewhere in that range.
Okay. So is he good on following through on what he says he's going to do?
He likes to start stuff.
He likes to start stuff.
I mean, if he says to someone, though, like, I will help you, he goes and helps them. Like, if the car needs jumped or, like, I don't know, a friend needs help moving, he's the first person there.
Okay. Do you, drink alcohol?
I drink some wine.
Occasionally, or, like, every day, or what?
every day. No. It's occasionally. Usually, like my husband has a taste for like whiskey and stuff, so it's like if he buys some, he'll buy me a bottle, and then we'll like both have our moment. You know?
Do you smoke weed?
No.
Did you ever go through a drug phase where you're doing lots of blow and acid and shooting smack and stuff?
Never.
Okay. So far, I just want to say, I feel very confident in saying you're FE, not FI.
Yeah.
At the very least, I feel very, very confident about saying that.
Yeah.
There's nothing about you that makes me think, this woman is unreasonable and stubborn.
Oh.
And FI equals unreasonable and stubborn, basically. Susie, do you agree that she's FE, not FI?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, you seem like Alpha Quadra for sure. I mean, I don't know that, I'm not definitively saying that, but the vibe here is very comfortable. We're all sort of merry, Parsi, interested in perceptions. It's very alpha-y, you know, and chatty. Alpha's a chatty quadra. And the INTPs don't always say a lot, but if you're with two introverts, you can see INTPs can actually be quite chatty as well. It's just when there's an extrovert in the mix.
Too chatty.
When there's an extrovert in the mix, they don't
That's why.
fill the space because I'm always busy filling it. So I don't really see INTPs being chatty very much, but I'm hypothesizing that they probably are when I'm not around. More chatty.
We're more chatty in text discussions.
Yeah, they like to write text.
Yeah, but see, most of the time you're talking.
Right, that's
So
what I'm saying.
the space is filled.
I know. Well, I tried to give you guys space, but I gave it to you too soon. I have to wait
No.
until the slabs lean so that your SE has to just do nothing except get out of the way.
Right.
No, the slabs has to align. That's the truth.
And then he has to gently coax us into position.
Come on, INTPs. Come on. Away from the computer. Come on.
No, but see, that's why we need ISFJs.
Okay, so are you happy in your marriage?
Yes.
What aspect of what your husband provides to you do you like best, and what thing do you wish your husband would provide to you that he doesn't?
My husband's the one that, oddly enough, I don't think he'd assume this from like an STP. If I am like correcting that, he's the one that's like, if you're feeling an emotion, like you need to feel it, you know. So like, I'll feel bad for being sad about something, and he'll be like, no, like you need to feel that. And it's kind of nice to have that reaffirmed because I try to shut all that down. As far as what I wish he did more.
How blamey are you?
Blamey. Like what?
Like, let's say this doorknob has been broken for a while now, and every time you try to close the door, you have to like prop something against it to even close. At a certain point, you go like, husband, you never fix the things I tell you to fix. It's been broken for a weekend. Fuck you!
No, never. Never.
Okay.
Maybe her husband does it,
Does he
so she
ever
doesn't
leave shit
have
undone?
to say that.
That's a good point, Susie.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
He seems very likely to just take care of everything.
Does he ever leave shit undone?
I mean, if it's a fixable problem, like he jumps on that. So if I tell him like our litter box is broken or something, he's like, oh, okay, and just goes and messes with it. So I don't know. I mean, if it's something, I don't know. I think I kindly remind if I'm like, hey, this thing is broken and it's kind of getting in the way of things, then he'll go and do it. But usually I don't really have to do that.
Let's
What
see.
a nice husband.
When he completes something that you want done, how's your interaction with him? Is it just
I'm like, thank you. I really wanted this complete and you did it and it's great. And then he's like, why are you thanking me? Like, I just fixed this thing. And I'm like, it's awesome.
so?
She looks nice.
Okay. What happens if you notice that it's not quite how you wanted it?
I would probably, if it was something slight where like I could actually fix it from there, I'd be like, oh, thank you. And then after he left, I would fix it and then like go, just so it didn't like bother him. But if it was something that I needed him to be able to fix, whatever that was, I would be like, well, this is awesome, but like I didn't want it this way. Like I try to be very nice about it, you know.
Is he
Like I'm so
is he-
grateful.
Is he receptive to that?
Um,
Or when he's done with the project, he's like, God damn it, I don't want to spend any more time on this.
he's usually like, you should have told me that before.
Right.
But okay, I'll do it. Like he's kind of annoyed, but like I never come out of mean, you know.
So when he gets annoyed at you, you don't like push back or scream at him or
No.
no? Okay.
Usually I just let him like cool, you know.
All right. Do you manage your loved ones differently than people who are less close to you?
Probably.
Can you think of ways in which that might be the case?
Well, with people, my loved ones and stuff, like I'm usually very attentive, and like if I think something's wrong, like a sibling maybe, for example, if I can detect that something's wrong, just by their like facial expressions or something, I'll take them to a different room and be like, "Are you okay? Like, is something going on?" I wouldn't do that with a person I didn't know, even if I saw it happening, because I would feel like maybe I'm intruding.
I see. How much do you think verbal affirmation is significant in a relationship?
100%.
100%.
Yes.
So do you expect your husband to verbally affirm you, or is it a tool function you use on him, but you don't really need it?
Well, my husband says, so I feel like I need it. I need to hear, like, I love you, I need you, you're awesome. Like, I want to hear that. He tells me that I tell him that stuff too much.
You tell him that stuff too much, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So, if he were to come up to you and say, I love you, my precious, perfect angel, how would you respond to that? You'd smile.
Very happy.
You'd smile and be happy. Are you sure you wouldn't say,
Yes, I'm sure.
well, why not? Wouldn't that be a good response?
It'd be funny. Like, I can be a turd sometimes and be like, oh, what do you want, you know? But rarely do I do that. I want to encourage that. I want to encourage the fact that he tells me things.
So you're using your FE, being aware that as you're sort of training him. Like, when we are engaging well, I will affirm that to reinforce it.
I guess so, yeah. Like if he does something, says something, suggests something that's good, I get very excited about it, and I feel like I reaffirm it. Even if it's like going to a movie or something, like, oh yeah, I would love to go. That's so cool. Like, yeah, we could go right now.
So your relationship probably has improved over time.
I think it's just shifted. I don't know, because I've always had like a. He's always just felt like home, you know, like very comfortable with him.
Right. It's that 2-3 thing. Regardless of STP or NTP, you get that 2-3 compatibility going on.
Is she implying that it's worse in some ways?
Are you implying that your relationship is in some ways worse than it used to be?
I don't think worse. I guess I'm just considering that, like, you know, you have like the ebb and flow of time. So like maybe your like communication's really good this year, and then lesser 1 year. You know, so yeah. I'm just like thinking about those relative moments, and so it's like to say, are you eternally happy always? Is it possible? You know.
How many chapters do you think your marriage has had so far?
Ooh. Probably every time we've moved, so probably 3.
Okay. Do you think of one chapter as the best chapter and another chapter as the worst, or are they all just sort of like, well, they each have their own particular flavor?
Particular flavors, positive and negatives. I'm typically an optimist, and he's typically a pessimist, but I don't think he would look at our marriage pessimistically, you know. But I like to think, well, this stuff bad happened, like, within our context, not in our marriage, but we had to deal with it, and so we dealt with it in this way, you know, and then came out of it, obviously. And that's always like, yes, that's great.
Do you have the same love language as him? In other words, does he expect verbal love language, or does he expect you to give him gifts, or do stuff for him, or other kinds of love language, or is it you guys both verbal?
I think that I'm like words of affirmation verbal, and I think he's gifts, because and so I've tried to start doing that for him. That's the whole concept, is to try to do more for the whatever your love language is. So
Yeah.
I surprised him with some leatherworking equipment that he had wanted, and he got it, and he was very surprised, very happy. And I was like, "Yay, this is good."
I think Kimberly might be that love language as well. When she expresses or she demonstrates love, it's often like, "Here, I got you a coffee, and I got myself one too." And if I fail to get her a coffee when I get myself one, then I get folded arms and scowly face. So I suspect that probably is her love language as well. Do you think that he makes an effort to adjust to your love language, or is that something he's thinking actively about?
I think it's. I watched a video of you and Kim actually. What was it called? It was like FE bullshit or something, where like you say I love you and she says I love you back. Like it's you're back and forth FE. Like my husband will do that to me sometimes. Well, he'll just like tell me what I want to hear and I know it, but I'm like, at least I'm hearing it.
Right.
Well, because he's making the effort to be a team.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter whether he believes it or not. He's showing you, I want to be on your side.
Yeah, I mean, there are times when he definitely means it, but like when we're sitting just, watching a movie, and I'm just like, I love you, because I randomly think of something that makes me feel very like, oh, you're amazing. I'll tell him that, and then he'll give me back that answer, and I'm like, I'm glad you're listening. That's cool.
Do you worry about the future?
I try not to think about it.
Is the end of the day? Do you think do you have at least up until the end of the day thought out?
Somewhat. I mean, I have a general idea of what I want to do. Like, maybe it's go to work, come home, do some laundry, make this for dinner or something like that. But there's something stalling me to where, like, I can't imagine play by play what exactly is going to happen. I just have these, like, okay, these things should happen. And if they don't, I typically am annoyed.
Sounds like fifth slot SC. Because what you're saying is you expect to be able to ignore the follow through, the specifics of the follow through, and have it happen anyway. And for example, your husband is going to validate well for you because it sounds like you've got good follow through, and that's ultimately how you validate the external world. You want to know people are reliable to follow through on what they say they're going to do. But it's not actually what you're seeking. What you're actually seeking is what you get from probably watching this channel, which is a bunch of yammer talk.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean you need to get it from your significant other, though. So it's like this is one of the ways in which I think certainly it's possible to successfully work around duality, especially if you got a lookalike type. Like if your husband is an ESTP, it doesn't sound like it's an ISTP. If he's an ESTP, then he's a lookalike of your dual, which is ENTP, and in some ways validates better for you because at least at the end of the day, you are an ISFJ.
Oh, for sure.
At the end of the day, ISFJ may seek ideation, but they need their predictions to come true. So if I say to you, I'll be yeah, Kimmy, I'll be in bed in 15 minutes. I'm just closing up out here, and then I don't actually go inside for an hour and a half.
What do I usually say?
I do that all the time.
What do I usually say to you? I'll see you in a couple hours.
Yeah, she stopped believing me when I tell her I'll be in 5 minutes, right? Sometimes I am, but it doesn't matter. She assumes I'm never going to be in 5 minutes when I say something because she's trying to create a reality in which she's not having to be mad at me for a lack of follow through. And so she just believes the thing that's more likely to happen than what I say.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Are you guys, Spacey, Susie, or Kim, you guys got questions, thoughts, comments, queries, concerns, complaints, or directionality direct towards this?
Not really good. Like Susie, I've spent a lot of time talking to her about stuff, so.
I never talked to her before except via comments.
So
and stuff.
yeah, you want to talk to her about.
Kim, do you think she seems like an ISFJ?
Well, I think that, she seems like a very nice ISFJ.
You seem certain that she couldn't be one.
Well, I was thinking she's too nice, but now I'm starting to question my type.
No, I'm starting to think maybe she gives ISFJ lessons.
Oh.
ISFJ lessons?
Yeah. You could be
That's
a
not
teacher.
fair. That's not fair.
I would make this terrible.
I'm just saying,
Right,
you want
Susie?
to be okay.
This is what I
How
get.
about nice ISFJ lessons? Right. Kim, you are an ISFJ.
Yeah.
You've been questioning your type. You keep saying that to me. What that really means is, but Eric, we're fighting a lot, and we're supposed to be dual, so I must not be an ISFJ. That's insane. I've already explained to you why it is that we fight a lot. It has nothing to do with that.
I'm just a mean ISFJ.
Well, no, she's just a healthy ISFJ.
You're just you just haven't made the leap of trust necessary to be nice. That's the difference. But she doesn't need to make the leap of trust because she was raised by loving parents who cared about her a lot. Is that your fault, Kim? I'm not trying to reduce you. I'm just saying, you know, it's like if I got ran over by a truck when I was a kid and both my legs were flat, I wouldn't be as good at walking as most people. But I could get my legs repaired or get prosthetic legs, and then I would be even more successful, like that South African guy who won an Olympic medal in race
Okay,
running.
now that we've established I'm damaged in her typing, let's move along.
Okay, well, I'm trying to draw a distinction
Okay,
between different ISFJs because she is an ISFJ.
Okay.
And you know, when a relationship like her and her husband is going properly, it's because she's manipulating him, right? But it's not a bad kind of manipulation. It's that you're aware that your husband doesn't have a very clear understanding of his own feelings, probably.
Yeah.
And so, but you're probably more aware of what he's feeling than he is most of the time. Makes it very
So,
easy for
Eric,
you to manipulate. Yeah.
Are you saying that Kimberly should manipulate you more so
Yes.
you guys will be
She
happier?
should manipulate him better.
Yeah, she should manipulate me actively and successfully, which she is capable of doing. She knows how to lie to me. She's not doing it often enough.
Yeah,
Or she's
well,
telling the wrong lies. That's the problem.
yeah, I'll tell you how I ran into Jamie here.
How?
Like, she was giving me a ton of comments on my videos, and then I was like, oh cool, this person has a channel too, we should collaborate. And then we met, we talked, we recorded a little something, and next day I went back and looked at it and like, this is not an INFP.
Right. There's no way you're an INFP. I think it's funny you thought you were an INFP. Why did you think you were an INFP?
Well, I had spent, take all the tests, whatever. Always got INFP, scored like INFJ once, INTP once, INTJ once, but like all the introverted, intuitive types, whatever. And then I went onto Reddit, and just like, they have all these different type me things on there too, and they'd be like, okay, write a bunch about yourself. And they have all these different like socionics forums and stuff. And everyone kept saying INFP over and over again, even though I was like, I just kept doubting it.
How many of those morons said, it's impossible to type you like this?
I did. I made a comment.
Eventually, yeah. Eventually people said that. But that was before I was doing videos, and it took me a while to get comfortable enough to be like, fine, I'll do a video, even though I'm like scared.
Well, I do have to point out something that I probably told you something like this before, but you have a name, right? Awkward INFP, right? You're talking to people via text, so they actually have no way to actually ascertain that you're actually not awkward at all.
Talk about poisoning the well.
Right.
On Reddit, I wasn't awkward INFP though. I was something
okay.
random.
But I guess I was just giving kind of an example of like, it's kind of misleading.
People cannot be typed by what they write.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
totally not. You're going to be misled as often as you're going to be led correctly by that.
Well, so this is the thing. There was a girl on Reddit yesterday, and she said, would you like to be typed? And then she wrote this like 3-page thing about all the questions she would ask. And so Bitchy Me went in, and I said, so what type are you? And she goes, well, I'm not really discussing my type. And I said, well, I'm curious to know what type feels like they want to type other people on Reddit. And she says, I think I'm an INTP. So I'm thinking to myself, if you think and you don't know, how can you properly type somebody else?
You can, though.
Well,
You can, it's possible.
Because look, Spacey, and maybe even, I don't know if Susie ever had any doubts about her type or not, but Spacey definitely went through a period when he thought, maybe I'm an INFP. That comes from the fact that he's got any tool function. So he's always thinking, what are some other possible ways my perfectly sound conclusion might be wrong?
Right.
But he's not that way about other people because it's demonstrative NI. 6-slot NI will tell other people, here's the truth. But when it comes to you tell them, well, here's the truth about you, they go, oh, no. You don't tell me truths. I tell you truths. I dismantle the truths you tell me.
Yes.
So, It's possible. But the thing is, what is not possible, in my opinion, is to type somebody based on their written answers to something. You've got to be able to engage with them. I mean, it may be possible, but you're going to be much less likely to be
Yeah.
right.
It'll
But
take a
doesn't
long
it also
time and it'll be
depend on
hard.
the person that's typing you, what type they are, to be
Sure.
able to have the ability to parse out the polars and all of these things, and you just can't do that in with written responses.
There's not enough. There's not enough back and forth.
Well, there's not enough
There's not enough information.
information,
present.
just even like social cues that like that people are. So many people are unaware of their own little quirks that other people take
Yeah.
note of.
You simply can't test for every cognitive function in
Right.
a purely verbal arena.
So, when did you first encounter cognitive functions in type?
Maybe 6 months ago.
Okay. And did you take like 16 personalities test?
Well, when I first encountered tests was probably a year ago. And on that, I always got INFP. I don't know. But when I actually was like, okay, what the heck? Cognitive functions, what's that?
Half the people-
So I went and looked at that. And then I was like, oh, socionics, what's that? What's a polar function? And that's how I started really doubting the INFP thing. I was like, I don't think I'm SE polar.
No, you're not ST
It
polar.
doesn't make any sense to me.
You're totally not. I mean, like, I could imagine an INFP making video response or communicating to me via video or something, but it definitely wouldn't have been so FE conscious. I don't think it's like that video was you exercising your moral agency by appreciating, right? Like, I'm going to make this person feel appreciated. That's not an FI way of doing it. Instead, FI is like, I'm not going to make this person feel appreciated. I'm going to appreciate this person actively. So it's less of something you make a video about, but be like, an IFP would be like, I want to sit here with you in this room and look at you. And like, that's satisfying or something. It's weird. It's FI.
Feel your energy.
I want to feel your presence in the room or something.
Mm.
Nobody can really understand FI, even FI people.
I can understand that.
Hey Jamie, you said something interesting at some point on how you mistook SI for FI.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Hmm. Well, because I have like such strong associations with things, like it really ignites something. You know, like I was talking about movie tickets and stuff, but like, you know, if I had the movie tickets from like our first time together when we were married or something, it would make me feel so deeply about like, oh, this is like a point in my life that's huge, you know, which seems dumb to other people, I guess, but
Not
it
to
just
me.
seems so similar.
When you look at those tickets, did it take you back to that date, when that movie theater? And, yeah?
Like I sit there, like I know what the name of it was, you know, like we watched Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man, whatever it was with Mysterio recently, and like I know that we both got ices and we had popcorn, and I remember laughing a ton, way more than other people around me. Like I remember different things about it, and I could feel that kind of like chill, happy vibe because I'm watching a comic book movie, you know.
I see. So in general, do you feel as though when you're told like, hey, Jamie, tonight we're going night skiing at this little resort up in the mountains, and you've never done it before, do you actually note yourself saying, okay, well, what can I reference that I've done before this is going to be like, so I can understand in advance what it is?
Yeah, I mean, you saying that, I've been skiing before, and so I shot back to me and my mom going skiing together after getting bagels.
Did you ever
Like-
go night skiing?
Not night skiing, no. So I'm assuming that night skiing would be similar to that, but at night,
But you're
obviously.
blind. It's the same as regular skiing, except you're blind.
Yeah, sounds dangerous though. That was my
Skiing is
thing. I'm like,
awesome.
"Oh, this sounds kind of dangerous. I don't know. Like,
It's well lit.
Is it?
They have like big like street lights.
Yeah, I've seen them. I've never actually been night skiing, so I mean, but I have seen the lights up at the mountains up here. They have it. Okay, so what happens if you suggest to somebody like, here's a brand new thing you don't have any link to? How do you how do you deal with that? Like, would you go to your tool function? Do you go to your third function? Do you schmooze them? Do you think logically? Well, can I figure out logically what the arguments are in this or something? Or what do you do?
I think I ask a lot of questions
Well, that's
to parse out if there is a connection.
that's third slot. So you go to TI if you're faced with something totally unfamiliar. You go to TI to try to figure out what makes sense. Okay. So ISFJs have demonstrative FI, which means that basically you expect the world to expect you to reveal your feelings about things. But you don't want other people to do the same thing to you. In other words, you don't want other people saying, I feel arbitrarily like this, therefore we should go meow. But you expect third parties to look to you and say, well, how do you feel about this? Did I do good or bad? And you perform the demonstrative FI to demonstrate to them good or bad.
Tell people they're a good boy.
Yeah, you tell people they're a good boy. If people try to tell you you're a bad girl, you're not having it. Or a good girl. You're like, that's not how I am dealt with. So, does that resonate with you?
Like their judgment on my feelings? Is that what you mean?
Well, the way it's supposed to work is this. It's like, your husband has polar FI, so he doesn't really know what he wants to do that much or what's really important or not. And so it's like when you say, hey, can you do this for me? He's like, well, I don't really have a clear preference as to what I'm going to be doing anyway, so sure, I can do it for you. But the one thing that he does know is going to make him feel good is when you affirm him afterwards and you're happy. If he feels like he's impacted you emotionally in a positive way, then he's going to feel satisfaction. So that's how demonstrative FI with polar FI is supposed to work in a relationship. But the thing is, it works that way in the whole world. You think everybody should have polar FI, and everybody should look to your demonstrative FI to determine if they did a good job, but you would never want anybody to reverse the roles on you.
Okay. Yeah. I think that makes sense.
Okay. Just sort of
Like,
go ahead.
The
That chew on.
other way around would be like, I'm seeking affirmation from you.
Right, are you? In general, people?
I think I want to be likable, approachable, needed, wanted. I don't know how that applies, you know?
Well, in theory, anyway, it should apply like, basically, you use FE, that is to say, manage other people's perceptions about you, but you ultimately don't care about it that much. In other words, if somebody does perceive you as being a little bit rude, but you feel like you are absolutely correct and won the TI line of argumentation, that'll be good enough for you. You're willing to sacrifice the instrumentality of extroverted feeling for the absoluteness of introverted thinking. It's the opposite for me. I'm willing to sacrifice the absoluteness of introverted thinking for the satisfaction of extroverted feeling.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about NE, extroverted intuition. What do you think extroverted intuition is?
I see it as like a kind of a sporadic. Well, I see SI as creative energy too, but to me, it's more sporadic connections to things, which is, I think, I initially somewhat had this two flipped. But I think it's theoretical. I think it's more abstract, and whereas like NI is more linear, you're condensing down to one point, and he zooms out to all the possibilities of. I don't know if you're discussing a philosophy or something. NE would be the thing that would keep linking to other things. You know.
Okay. How ideational are you? Do you make things? Are you creative? Are you in charge of decorating the house? Does it matter a lot to you? Or do you put out clothes for your husband to make him wear certain things and not other things?
I've written 2 different poetry books. I wrote a book that I need to edit. I'm not really creative otherwise. I'm attracted to like a lot of color, you know, some creative things for sure. I'll read and watch and I think I eat up that stuff. You know, I don't know how much I rate it. As far as like decorating the house, usually, like my husband likes things a certain way, or he wants to put something up, and I'm just kind of chill with it. Like, okay, like it doesn't really bother me.
So are your projects then more metaphysical like that, writing rather than say building a gazebo in the backyard?
Yeah, more metaphysical.
Okay, are they mostly verbal, not visual?
Um, yeah, I'd say mostly verbal.
Okay. Do you have any children?
No,
Do you want to have any children?
eventually, yeah. I just don't know when.
Okay. If you had the opportunity to homeschool, in other words, the resources or whatever, would you prefer to homeschool or send them to public school?
I see merit in both, but I kind of lean homeschool mainly because of like I feel like I'd be very protective, and I'm very nervous about the bullying and like all the issues in the school system at this point, and
You
just like I don't want to put my kid through trauma.
You want to know your kid's experience.
Yeah, yeah.
If
I want to make sure
homeschool,
they're
you
safe
can,
to the
yeah,
best of my ability. You know.
So, if I give you 5 poems that I pick at random, are you going to be able to tell me which one's the best poem? What does that question mean?
It's yeah. The best is relative. I could tell you what I like the best, but I think I would disregard what was the best, like in a I don't know meter way or something. I would just be like, well, this one sounds the best to me, or it resonates with me.
So, one famous poem is Stopping in the Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. You know that poem?
Is that the one where he's talking about you have 2 roads or
Yeah,
something?
two, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. Whatever, anyway. So that's a very famous poem. It's got a lot of legitimacy in the eyes of, I guess, the literary canon people. Do you think that that's because it's a better poem, or just sort of a random set of circumstances, or what?
I think the meaning resonates with a lot of people. Being, so many people, if you take something abstract, like the idea of, okay, you have 2 paths, you choose to take the road less traveled. It kind of encourages, like, your own creativity in a way, or, I don't know, to consider that maybe you're not meant for this 9 to 5, you know?
It's like, probably he's NI ignoring or something, you know? He's like, don't pay attention to your NI. Yes, that's the obvious path you should go. Sure, you're trying to get somewhere. Yes, it's probably a bad idea to take this random little path that leads off into the forest. But, fuck it.
Yeah, pretty much. Makes sense.
Okay, so then you don't see universal resonance as being equivalent to quality or goodness. Even though you think that some poems universally resonate more, you don't think that means they're better inherently.
Because sometimes that resonance is negative too. And that's like, well, why are we reinforcing things that are going to make people feel bad? You know?
Okay.
Like all things end or something.
So it has to be both universally resonant and positive to be good?
In my opinion, I don't think that's for everyone. You know?
Okay. Yeah, I know it's not for everyone, but that's because some people are wrong.
Damn straight.
Oh. Okay. Do you feel more strongly that good is external to the experience on music or movies or TV, or do you feel the same way on all media?
In terms of what is good?
Like, do you think, well, poems are pretty arbitrary, but songs, a good song is very clear and a bad song is very clear. Or do you feel like songs are arbitrary, but movies, I can tell for sure? Like that.
No, I think everything's relative. The good of it.
Do you have to work at the gym later tonight?
No.
Okay.
I worked this morning.
If you did have to work at the gym later today, would you try to clear your schedule before work so that you don't want to, you have to stress out about getting ready for work, or you just not even think about it and just go to work?
No, I want to not have to stress.
Okay, so
I kind of worked this meeting even around work, so we'd have open time.
And you'd have open mind, right? Because
Yeah.
if you had to work 1 hour at the gym 4 hours from now, you couldn't possibly focus on this. You'd have work looming over you. Is that
I
true?
could be consciously checking the time a lot to make sure. You know.
Yeah, that is absolutely exactly what Kimberly does. Is that if she's got work later, even if she's just working for an hour or two, the whole day before she starts work is basically shot. She's devoted towards stressing about work coming up.
Well, it's
Yeah.
not really stressing about work and coming up. It's like making sure my errands are done beforehand so that I can actually, kind of like go to work and basically, what's the word, where I don't have to worry about all the things
You can
beforehand.
focus.
I can
It's like
focus.
Something
Yeah.
going on where like physical things happening in the world actually take up space in
Yes.
your head.
Yeah.
Like,
I tried to explain
Yeah.
it to Spacey yesterday and he was going to blow up.
And Spacey tried to explain it to me, and it makes a lot of sense. Basically, what Spacey told me yesterday is that sometimes when Kimberly and I have a lot of conflict, it's because Kim feels like she can't even begin to sit down and think about question X until physical environment considerations A, B,
Yes.
C, D, and E are all taken care of.
yes.
Whereas I'm saying, look, we forget the physical environment. That's irrelevant until we resolve these metaphysical concerns. But she's not even able to focus on them until the environment is conducive to focus. That's something I learned yesterday from Spacey, and I've been musing about, and before I brought it up to you, because you remind me quite a bit of Jewel.
I've heard that, but I've never met her.
She does though, yeah.
Yeah, she's more Jewel.
She's an ISFJ like
I
Kimberly.
have yet to find a
No, I do see some mannerisms that she shares with you though. Right?
fighty ISFJ like me though.
Well, no, most of this, I see a lot of the ISFJ similarities in your countenance, like not the words that you're saying, but just your mannerisms and stuff. You know?
Look, Kim, one thing I am absolutely certain about is that the Slavs found the ISFJ who had the most to teach me and who needed me the most. In other words, I had to learn a lot of lessons from you. Some of them good, some of them bad, but regardless, I learned a lot in the process. And also, I needed the world's greatest challenge.
You can't really learn about your dual without also learning about yourself.
Right. It's true.
Yeah.
So, Kim, you are an ISFJ, and you're my particularly cutting and fighty ISFJ.
I guess that's why almost can't help but grow in a dual relationship, because you're constantly surrounded by like the part of you that you normally ignore. It's like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, what are your, like, do you have a driving progression forward underneath it all? Like, well, I do have goals and we're generally moving towards these and I'm always sort of keeping those in the back of the mind. Or are you just like, I'm comfortable right now, why would I worry about goals?
I feel best when I'm working towards a goal, but my goal for the last several years has been to get a PhD, but it's now, like, that kind of crashed. So I've been trying to figure myself out.
it's too big of a goal, right?
Huh?
It's too big of a goal. You got to have littler goals.
I mean, it's doable. It's a doable
No, but you have to
goal.
work your way up to it. Right now,
She
you're
got
just
her
thinking,
master's.
yeah.
She already has her master's.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, listen, all licenses all the time, my
Yeah.
licensing division of TWFP is willing to issue you a PhD in whatever subject you'd like.
That's true.
Okay.
Also, I would be interested, I'm serious about this offer. How long is your book, first of all? Let me ask this question. That needs editing.
I think it's like 300 pages or something.
Well, I mean,
Like-
I am not against the notion of you, if you want to send me like a Google Doc something or stuff, I could edit some for you. Yeah, I might get bored of it after a while, but I can get you started on it. I don't mind doing that. I'm a good editor.
Oh, I don't mind helping people edit text and stuff too. I'm pretty good at
And
it.
I'm curious about what your book's about. That's mostly it. So if
I
you
can
feel like
just
sharing a
chat.
link or whatever, I will get on that a bit and see.
I
See
think
how
we're both
clean it is.
curious.
If it's a complete fucking mess, then I'll be like, no thanks.
And how about coaching? Would you like to coach an ISFJ in this? We'll just give you a job. So.
Yeah, why not?
We could trade services. You could
Probably
sit
do
down and
better
chat
than a
with
normal
Kimberly
therapist.
about being nice, and I could edit your book. Well, the thing is, what do you think? Do you think I need to learn to love her meanness, or do you think she needs to learn to be more nice?
I think you need to just be more patient.
Say again?
You need to be more patient, you know?
Okay. Patience, huh?
Yeah, patient. Like, let her speak.
I mean, Eric, patience is probably your number one greatest enemy.
Well, because, I mean, the reason patience is the problem for me, it has to do with demonstrative TE. And if I see there a problem, and I see an obvious solution to it, I expect everyone to cooperate to work into that solution right now, because I don't want to spend any more time on TESE than I have to. I certainly don't want to direct SI to keeping track of TESE I need to do later.
Yeah. Every time there's a thing, he's just like, yeah, it's done. Let's go.
I don't want this on my attentional plate any longer. How important to you are statuses, words, like that your husband say, you know, I think you're a funny person versus you're humorless, or I think you are pretty versus you're getting dowdy?
Well, I think I attach to status words, yeah.
If your husband says something like that, maybe you think is unfair, like he goes to you one day, you are so prone to stealing things.
Yeah, no.
Why don't you make something realistic?
And that's realistic. She looks a little bit like a klepto.
Could be. Right? Stealth klepto.
No,
Stealth
make something
club.
relatable. Like,
Oh, I have a very ISFJ potentially story. I'm curious if you want
Let's
to
hear it. Let's hear
Okay.
it.
So my dad, who I think is an ESTP, not 100% on that, but he took me to the movie when I was a kid, and we watched this movie. And at the end of it, he was like, "Hey, we're gonna sneak into this other theater and watch this other movie." And I was like, "Dad, we're gonna get caught. Like, we can't do this." And so he said that I complained and was really scared during the whole movie. I kept getting upset. Like, "Dad, we're gonna get caught." And he's like, "You're gonna get us kicked out if you keep, worrying about this." But I'm curious if Kim identifies with that or not. It's just something about doing the wrong thing that makes me feel bad.
Yeah, Eric has a tendency to get on his bike and have weird baskets, and he'll go hang out at the railroad track. And we have been warned on several occasions, you are not to be walking on the railroad tracks. And when he's doing it, it's just making me crazy. I'm like looking around for cops, and I just like, you've been told, like. And then he'll go, well, but I wasn't told specifically that I can't pick up the railroad things. They just said I can't be here. And I'm like, no, that means you cannot be here, which means you, no. And he'll go, can! And then so I'm like, yeah, it makes me crazy.
The point is, this is what actually happened, okay? So we went to the railroad track, we were riding along the railroad track. Where we entered, there's no sign that says, don't go here. Where we exited, there's a sign saying, don't enter where we exited. Now the cop was driving by when we were exiting where the sign says, like, don't go into this area. But it only says it from that direction. We came from the other direction. And so, and the cop's like, hey, you guys can't be in there. And I'm like, fine, whatever. And, but if he had pushed the issue, I would have won the argument. Out of his car and... No, if he had pushed the issue, I would have won the argument. I would have said, well, actually, officer, you cannot give us a ticket because we came from that direction. There was no signage indicating we couldn't come in here. And we had no way to see these signs since they're obviously facing that direction. We still can't see them standing where we are now.
And I'm like, okay, Eric, enough. Let's just get out of here.
And then the other thing is, on the other side of that street, the railroad tracks, you can go there. So, it's like, it's not as cut and dry as Kim is making it out.
I feel like I feel the same way here, though. Like, if I know something's wrong, or like the potential that a cop would come because it's happened before, too, it's like, oh, I'm nervous.
Yeah, like, just don't do it.
Yeah.
Because you're not thinking of it in terms of, can I win the argument?
You're
thinking of it in terms of,
don't do it.
am I socially positioned to be immune to this, right?
When you're an NTP, it's more like,
I know.
how can I get away with doing what I want to do?
I know.
That was a problem.
I'd rather just avoid it.
The thing is, I'm actually quite careful at picking and choosing my battles, There's a lot of things I won't do. I'm going to be like, well, let's go do this. We'll get away with it, no problem. I think, yeah, but I won't be able to win the argument on that, so I'm not going to even bother trying. If something that seems very brazen and crazy, but I'm extremely confident I can win the argument about it, then fine, I'll do it. If something seems very mild and not a big deal, but I'm not confident I can win the argument, then I won't do it. For example, I won't take a senior citizen discount unless they explicitly tell me it doesn't matter how old I am, just because I look old, they'll give it to me. Then I'll say fine, but I won't misrepresent my age. And I can't win that argument, right? I can't win it later on and say, no, my line was okay.
Yeah, if I found myself in a situation that I didn't want to be in like that, I'd be looking to other people to get us out of it. Because I don't think I could. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, I knew as soon as the cop pulled up, I already knew at that moment that the outcome was going to be, he's going to go like this. And that's it. Because, first of all, we're two middle-aged Laverne residents riding our bicycles in a very, like, kind of way. You know, we're not gangbangers down there smoking meth or whatever. So,
Yeah.
it's like I knew the cop wasn't going to actually do anything. But the most important thing is I knew is, even though I'm wrong about that, and he does try to do something, give us a ticket or whatever, I will win that argument. And if he pushes it and makes me actually go to court, that'll be fun. I'll go in there and not only win the argument, I'll heap abuse upon the system.
And that's why I'm like, I don't even want to go here because I could see 15 days from now us in court and Eric arguing over a goddamn railroad track. And I'd be like, why do we even have to do it? Let's just not do it. Let's avoid it.
Well, it's not fun for you.
Right.
You also thought that about the Pomona Police Department. When the guy pushed me with the butt of his gun, he said, let's just drop it. And I said, no.
No, we need to win 5 points.
It wasn't even about the money. It was about the principle of the matter that there's no way in hell I'm going to allow him to win an argument that he has no business winning.
Yeah. Especially when has authority.
Right.
That's important. We have to hold people with authority accountable.
Look, authority should sting, not feel good.
Yes.
All right, so you're an ISFJ. We've got 7 formal minutes left. Do you want to ask questions, tell us what to teach you about, or teach us about something, or whatever?
Well, being as my main goal with typology was, okay, figure myself out so I can redirect my life goals. A big piece of that's career. And I'm curious what you think for ISFJs in that realm. Like, what do you think is a good option?
Well, you have a master's in history, and I will still tell you a good option for you is wife and mother.
Right.
It's not the only good option, but you'll probably find it quite satisfying.
She'll find it quite satisfying, but she also does need to have something as a backup, because also, whereas we make good wives and mothers, we get really drained by the same thing all the time. So we do need to have an outside source of something that brings us enjoyment that is separate from that one thing that we do very well. What I would say is for an ISFJ, you want to do something that you're definitely working with people, but that doesn't mean one-on-one. You want to be able to kind of manage the FE and everything you do, and be able to have the ability to manage that. Meaning you can work with people all day long, but be able to have the autonomy to be able to step away, because a lot of the FE that comes with that will exhaust you mentally. And it's not physical exhaustion that you'll experience as an ISFJ, it's mental exhaustion. Too much stimulation from too much FE stimulation. So you've got to be able to have a career that allows you to step away from that and be okay with it.
Would something like a bartender be a good example?
Yes.
Yeah. You can always turn away and look busy or whatever if you don't want to talk to people.
Yeah, but you need to be able to have those moments of quiet and clarity within what you're doing and allow it to be okay.
What I would suggest is there are lots of, you have certain in background that helps with this, there are lots of programs that are Chinese schools, online schools, where they get kids from China to take lessons in English from American teachers in various subjects. You've got a master's degree in history, you've been to China, you understand Chinese people, you probably all even speak a few words of Chinese, a little bit of it at least. Yeah, here. And so I would suggest that that's a good job. Those are easy jobs to get. You're not going to get paid a shit ton, but you can get about 25 an hour, maybe 30 an hour. And the only issue about it is you got potentially be a bit of a night owl to do that, because different times of day means that when you're working with Chinese students in China, it's kind of late at night, like 1 in the morning.
Mhm.
That's a problem with that. But you could find ones that deal with domestic Chinese students too, which give you different hours. Probably won't pay quite as much, and you don't even have to leave the house.
Yeah, that sounds like a good deal.
Well, see, that she'd be okay with that if she were to do night hours, because, you know, the thing is once you have children and stuff, I find that as ISFJs get settled into motherhood and being a wife and managing home, a lot of our stuff gets done later on in at the night, because we also need to have things to be quiet when we're working. So for her, that would be conducive, because everybody's in bed. She can like do her daily stuff, and then, you know what I'm saying, be ready at night, and then boom, go to bed. Get up the next morning, do the same thing again.
Get up the next morning at 11:30 a.m.
that would
after
be
your
really
9 hours of
conducive.
sleep, and
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna be fine.
Yeah, it's interesting because I had thought about it before doing that, but I was like, oh, I'm so awkward. This was before my YouTube stuff, and I was like, I don't think it would go over well.
Don't
Like,
worry, they're more awkward than you are.
Talk about weird self-assessment.
Yeah,
Like, what caused you to think
I don't-
yourself?
that's what I was curious about.
Or was it a proactive sort of meta self-deprecating defense or something?
I feel internally awkward quite a bit, and so it's weird to like.
Has anybody ever called you awkward before?
I don't think in those terms, like, you're weird. You know, like things like that. But
I didn't say that awkward wouldn't be a word that I would use for myself, but I would say I don't feel comfortable in my own skin. Therefore, I feel like other people are seeing this too. But what I've learned is over time is it's kind of a fake it till you make it sort of a thing. They're not going to verify every little thing that you say. It's more about the delivery than what it is you're saying. So with your FE, you'll be just fine. We say stupid shit all the time, but we're able to sweep with your FE. So, as time goes on, you'll be more comfortable with understanding that all of these things and insecurities that you have, most people are not paying attention to that, and you're doing a better job of it yourself than they are themselves anyways. So,
The other thing I would say is listening to Kim talk to you about her
Very good
experience,
advice.
her experience with FE and stuff, and giving good advice and everything, is that ISFJs are extremely intuitive in one very specific area, which is about other individuals' expressions of particularism. So, it's like Kim will spend some time with somebody, and she'll give me like a 1 or 2 word summation of who and what they are after a while. That's 8-slot NI, because it always is linking to her particular experience of that person. But it has a very intuitive flavor to it. It feels like they're pulling some INFJ shit, and they are basically. They're pulling their version of INFJ shit, which is to say, they've observed some non-reducible quality of the person and managed, nevertheless, to express it linguistically in ways that make sense to me or a third party. So that's that magic of you're not FI, but you're demonstrative FI, and your FE means you're rendering shit into TI kind of packages, and it makes you sound very intuitive in certain contexts. You're certainly good communicators. You use language well. All of Alpha Quadra does.
Well, I've heard that FE and TI used together can teach very well. I've heard that. So it's interesting.
That's like the ISFJ archetype. You're like the wise elder who passes on knowledge to other people.
With the Mother Teresa's of the world.
Yeah.
The thing about ISFJs is they're not actually teaching. They're presenting information and being likable so that their students want to do the TE for them, basically.
What does that look like, doing TE for you?
It means you'll say as a teacher, here's some history stuff, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a test on it or whatever, right? And basically, you'll lecture, but you're going to rely upon the kids to teach themselves. You're just presenting the information, And
So it would look like you going up in the front of a classroom and going, all right, guys, this is going to be an interesting day today. And all of a sudden you get up there and you pass out this word puzzle and everybody's excited. And you get to sit back and get on your phone, but it's exciting because they're doing a word puzzle.
this is an interesting perspective. This is your education gave you some skewed notions of teaching.
Yeah, wow.
Look, what I'm
I guess
basically
the
saying.
concept basically right though.
Well, it's this. It's saying if I'm going to go teach a concept like something from history or whatever, I'm going to say, okay, Bob. So my point here is that we need to let these Middle Eastern countries attain democracy via a natural process or steps of order. You know, we're talking about de Tocqueville here. Okay, so you explain it back to me, Bob. Yeah, and then slightly off. No, that is wrong. I want these words. Why am I choosing these words? Not these other words. I don't know. Well, these other words are bad. So now you tell me, why did I choose this word? I make them repeat back to me the answers. I double check and triple check until I'm sure they not only understand it, but understand it operationally so they can use it how I want them to use it. That's me doing the TE of teaching. I'm actually continually assessing and adjusting to make sure the thing external to me looks like I want it to look like.
Interesting. Okay, yeah.
Whereas an ISFJ is going to go in there, present all the information, and be very well liked by the students, and say, you know, basically, I believe in you guys, I encourage you, and also, if you don't do it, I'm going to be disappointed. And then you rely on everybody else's either FI or FE to motivate them to do the TE of teaching themselves once you give the information. Actually internalizing the information, that's their job.
Okay.
That's what I mean by that.
So you kind of relying on the people for they have to figure out their accuracy.
No, they have to figure out the how to get that information to stick in their heads.
Okay. Interesting.
The accuracy, you're still relying on yourself to make sure the information you're providing is accurate. You're expecting them to not have to check that or challenge that. As a teacher, you've already done the TI work. It makes good logical sense what you're saying. You just need them to make that information part of their own being. Now, different people make information part of their own being in different ways. So that's what I mean by you expect them to do the TE, to know how they're going to best put information in their own head. Whereas, for me, it's more like, depending on the thing being taught, there's ways to, you know, there are heuristics or techniques I can use to make sure I maximally cram it in their head myself. Fuck you, you're not going to learn it, I'm going to cram it in your head. You know, like that.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense.
Okay, any last thoughts by anybody? Before I stop the video, at least?
Pretty high quality ISFJ here.
Yeah.
If you say so myself.
Pretty polished, pretty smooth.
Yeah, we need to be friends.
Pretty woke.
I've
Indicative.
been trying to him, I keep asking to get on video with you.
Me?
Was it? Oh, it's Kim?
Yeah,
Me?
with him. Yeah, on live chat. I'll be like on Eric's video. I'll be like, I want a video chat.
You got a Facebook Messenger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I'm
Kimberly
like,
Moonley.
yeah, I'm like in the shadows. I love being a part of like the live streams and stuff, but these two drive me crazy after a while, so I have to like leave and kind of do my like ISFJ thing in the house or whatever. I can only get like I feel like I'm hearing Steven and Eric in my ear all day long. So I don't mean to be rude, but you have to like directly contact me through Facebook message and.
Add her, she'll add you. Anyway,
Well, I don't think you were being rude, Kim. I don't think any of you were being rude. I tried to denote that I wanted to speak to you, but
I didn't know that.
anyway,
Sorry.
the thing is, what was I going to say a second ago?
I'm surprised anybody wants to be my friend.
Of course we want to be your friend, Kim. You're a
You know,
lovely,
I feel
wonderful
like you
person.
made it out to be so mean.
No, I don't. I'm talking about our problems that we're working through by both being open and honest.
Oh, but I
with
don't get to. I don't really know what you're sharing. So like, I imagine like you come out here and you're like, oh, raw.
I do that a lot, and people go, "Why do you keep saying raw?" But
I feel like I have a bad image, so I try to
No,
like
you don't.
stay away.
no,
I think
Like,
you kind of
like
you get the
save
cart before the
animals,
horse.
for example, and I thought that was super cute.
What?
say about animals. What?
she tries to save animals. Like, was it the possum you said that you
Yeah.
loved that she wanted to help this innocent thing? And I was like, that's adorable.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's why it's important I not value TE. It made no sense to put any energy and effort into saving that obviously critically injured possum.
Yeah, if I felt comfortable about what I look like right now, I'd say put the camera on me.
Why
So
don't
she
you
can
feel
see.
comfortable about what you look like?
Because I haven't even had a shower.
Kimberly,
Okay,
you
so
know,
put the
I've told you
camera
this
on me
before.
right now so she
I'm
can
going to tell you again.
appreciate.
You are my human pageant winner, okay?
Hi.
You are my human pageant winner.
Look at Maudie. She's
This is my
such
life.
a baby.
What a good chicken friend. Would you say that Maudie is more of a chicken friend or more of an important chicken lady?
Who's the fighter?
I'm asking you. I mean, she's both, obviously. She has a lot of awards.
I think it's her spirit animal.
Oh, you mean it's her familiar? Kimberly is Maudie your familiar?
Could be,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just feel like I have this reputation of being nicer to the animals than I am to the NTPs.
Wow.
Oh.
I mean,
Animals can't talk back, though.
that's why, right?
Yeah.
Animals don't talk back.
That's why I like hanging out with them. However, we have very vocal animals too.
And you're a pushover with them. You know, if the kitty decides one moment, I'd like to eat over here under this tent on the side of the driveway, then Kimberly rushes out to give them a bowl of food right there. You know?
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
It's almost
My
like
husband says I'm bad at disciplining our cats.
You're bad at disciplining them?
Yes.
Do they need a lot of discipline?
Well, when I'm the only one
you
who
want
like to
things to
jump up
stay
on the
nice,
TV.
yes. However, the way I have solved this in my household is my house is basically a place for everybody to come and be comfortable. And you may find a piece of chicken shit next to you on the armchair, but you don't have to sit there. And the way I look at it is I don't really have anything that is of great value that somebody can't totally destroy, and I can't replace it. One day, yes, I'd like to have nice things, but it's more important for my animals to feel comfortable where they are than everyone else, because I'd rather just have everyone else stay away anyway.
yeah.
Do
Kimberly.
you have like much material attachment to things? too?
Yes. I do.
There are things I care about, but ultimately I'm like, well, I would rather, have this thing torn up than have someone who've been hurt or something. Like there's a hierarchy, I guess.
Yeah, well, I live with an NTP, and
Two of them.
two of them. And so when you walk out of this house, you must walk out with caution, because you'll trip on something, you'll trip on their last project every inch you walk.
That's true. Go ahead, Spacey.
I'm kind of noticing these two distinct flavors of ISFJ here, where it's like she's like a more extroverted, ideationally active form of ISFJ, whereas Kimberly is like a more introverted, like super earthy, like naturalist flavor, animal whisperer.
I think she has less trust in her TI than you're.
She's like all
Jamie?
SI, basically.
Jamie, is that your name? Jamie?
Yeah.
Okay. I think Kim has.
Well, Jamie and
less
Jewel
trust
are
in
much
her TI.
She's
like
like
each other.
Yeah, you're a lot like Jewel.
You're very soft and graceful, and you just seem very calm and comforting to be around. Whereas me, I think I make people stressed out because I'm a ball of worry.
Well,
Yeah.
Kimmy, basically, the recipe called for 4 tablespoons of sass, and somebody misread it and put in 4 cups of sass.
Sass is fun though.
It is
Oh,
fun.
ask these
I love
guys.
it.
Is sass fun?
Yeah.
Sass is fun.
That's the thing.
They
We'll,
don't like
we'll get
it.
more sass out of Kimberly than you'd probably get out of most ISFJs.
Yeah.
It could be pretty
Well,
funny.
that's the thing. I've yet to talk with another ISFJ that has as much or anything. I've not. So, but it's just like Eric. You talk other ENTPs, and there's different flavors of ENTPs, and I believe I am with the biggest ENTP of the world. And so I have yet, other than Becky, to see somebody that is as similar as Becky. So I think we're bound to find somebody that is as fighty as I am, but I have yet to find one yet. I think you're a delight, and I really enjoy talking with you. You give a calm to everybody. I don't think I give people that.
Well, we all agree that she's wonderful, but I think you really do. As long as you're in a decent mood, you are calming to be around.
I'm never in a decent
and you're
mood.
fun also, and you're pleasant.
Don't undersell
And
your
you're
own
comforting,
wonderful.
right.
No,
Because
no,
look, no, you
Are we
listen for a
recording?
second. Yes, now you
Oh.
listen for a second. Don't undersell your own wonderfulness.
Yeah.
The fact is, the source of most of our conflicts is as basic as I think you're wonderful and say you're wonderful. You think I'm wonderful and say I'm terrible. And that's about it. That sums it up. And that it causes me cognitive dissonance because you are wonderful, but telling me I'm terrible isn't very wonderful. So I don't know what to do with that. And that sums up all of our fights.
Yes, that's a very nice, simple way to put it that doesn't overwhelm her. There you go.
The end. Thanks
You
for
like
watching.
that?
Go ahead, Kim.
I was going to say, you like that? The end. He goes, nobody else speak afterward. They get the last word. Like that? What do you think?